The Pokemon leaks just keep on coming. We are breaking down some news and information and all sorts of leaks for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Let's take a look. Yo, whoa, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. Bringing you guys a brand new video today, and today we are diving into the world of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which has seemingly set off a fire in the community as multiple people have access to the game now and are now posting videos and screenshots and all sorts of stuff on the internet, giving us information that we previously did not have. I'm gonna be sharing a lot of that information in this video today, and I do wanna urge you that if you do not want spoilers for the game, don't watch the video. It's really that simple. Otherwise, feel free to proceed. Again, any major spoilers and things like that, I'm gonna try to keep out of titles and stuff just out of respect to those who do not want that information until the game comes out, in which case, it's fair game at that point. Hit that like button down below if you guys enjoy these types of videos, and of course subscribe to the channel if you guys are new so you don't miss out on our Pokemon news and information and updates. You simply do not want to miss out. I'm gonna put the source in the description below for this video, and we're probably gonna use placeholder images for a lot of this video as I'm still waiting to hear back from my lawyer on some advice on some of this stuff, and I just want to be smart about how I approach this. So just be mindful there. If you want to see the original sources, you can find them in the description below. And of course, if you haven't picked up a Team Shiny shirt yet, we've got these awesome starters. You can go to teamshiny.com and pick them up. Use code SHINY to get a discount if you pick up 3 shirts. They look awesome. You'll get them in time for the games to drop. But let's jump into the news. All right, so we've actually got a new trailer we're going to take a look at that Nintendo UK posted. But first things first, Kurt or Kaphotics has posted a retweet, says game obtained dumping info, which was from 2014. However, this is something that he posts and retweets every single time a new game is about to release and he has access to the game. Kaphotics is one of the primary data miners in the Pokemon community, and him retweeting this is an indication and a most likely the fact that he has the game at this point, and therefore the leaks and data mines are a-coming. So prepare yourselves for that. Next, we're gonna take a look at this new little trailer. It's really cute. It's super short, but it's pretty cute. It shows some of the cool stuff going on from Nintendo UK. So let's boot this up. From quaint towns brimming with nature to sprawling cities, the Sinnoh region is filled with amazing places to explore. And you can see here a couple screenshots like Verity, Sand Gem Town. Obviously, that's the platinum version of Sand Gem Town. Jubilife City. Heart Home City, of course, and they're just showing up a couple different areas in the game: Amity Square, Veilstone City, etc. Obviously the Galactic headquarters. So just a short little clip. This is part of their promotion. Still expecting a trailer this week, but again, at this point I would not expect any crazy news, as these leaks have not indicated anything mind-blowing yet in terms of mega evolutions or anything like that. I'm thinking at this point those are probably not happening. From there, one thing I want to mention is it seems as though this Pokemon is going to have affection buffs, much like we saw in some of the previous games where you could use like Pokemon Me to have your Pokemon interact on the bottom screen. Well, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is going to have something similar where your Pokemon are going to be able to dodge and gain extra XP, maybe shake off status conditions, and much, much more. There's a screenshot showing the Staravia when it's sent out into battle says, "I know you can do it," which is a special tagline that again would be indicative of the Pokemon having affection stats. The trainer sends out another Pokemon that does not have that tagline. Therefore, we can assume there's a difference between the Pokemon and that affection is indeed in the game. That's a mechanic that ultimately I personally don't really care for, but in terms of in-game experience, it's not a bad thing. I will say there's been some playthroughs, some hardcore Nuzlocke and things like that I've done where like my Pokemon's lived on one hit because it toughed it out. And while obviously that stuff is not usable in the main battles of like online kind of activity, it's pretty cool, I guess, when all is said and done. So I have mixed feelings about it, but I don't think it's a bad thing. It's optional, right? So I guess there's no hate there. The next thing that was shown was a Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl map. Again, I'm gonna put all this stuff in the description below if you guys want to see it. I'm just holding off on showing it in the video at this moment, just because again I want to just hear back from a professional about this. So I make sure that I don't do anything that I shouldn't be doing. I think it's fine, but I just want to be safe about it. But yeah, the map shows the gameplay map. It actually looks really, really clean. Shows the game as you would normally expect it. There's nothing too crazy on this gameplay map, but I think it looks pretty awesome, and it'll be exciting to see this in kind of full functionality. We also find out that the Arceus Plates are indeed in the game, so you're able to get the Spooky Plate, the Fist Plate, various plates as you kind of progress through the game. That leads me to believe that Arceus is going to be obtainable at some point, I would expect. Why else would we be gathering all these different plates? for no other reason. I don't know. I mean, they do give you stat boosts, right? So they're usable in terms of like in-game held items, but simultaneously, I feel like if they're gonna have the plates in the game, there's probably some reason as to why. So let's keep our fingers crossed that Arceus is indeed in the game through some sort of post-game event, or we can do something cool with it, as obviously it's a huge legendary and it would add potential gameplay in post-game. So far, what I've seen, the people that have the game and are leaking it have only really played up to like 3 or 4 gyms. So there's still a lot of information to be seen over the coming days as these players get farther in the game, more people get access to the game, and much, much more. From there, we know that the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl have new idle animations, and they're actually kind of more so similar to kind of the original animations, which is pretty cool. So they use a lot of the Pokemon home models, they use a lot of different animations, but honestly, it looks really good. You've got the idle animation of like Murkrow shown, and it looks way better than the like this old idle animation where it's just kind of sitting there. So the fact that they've improved some of these idle animations and some of the animations in general is definitely a nice thing. I'm pretty excited for that, and I'm hopeful to see you know, the different animations throughout the game, not only from like attack animations are concerned, but also just like the regular idle animations and other things. One other thing that I noticed or saw posted about is that the Pokemon have different fainting cries. So when a Pokemon faints, it has a different cry than when it's sent out in a battle. I thought that was a nice little touch that was added to the game that kind of adds a little bit of extra layer of immersion. And we're gonna talk immersion at the end of the video. The next thing I want to talk about is the gym trainers' levels. It seems as though up to what we've seen so far is that the gym leaders' levels are the same as they were in Diamond and Pearl. So the one we have a reference of is Maylene's gym, which is of course the 3rd gym, the fighting gym, and her Lucario and her Machoke are the same levels as they were in Brilliant Diamond, or I'm sorry, they're the same as they were in Diamond and Pearl. So level 30 Lucario, I think it's level 28 Machoke. But the levels were the same, so there's not going to be a level of difficulty added to this game, at least up to that point from what we've seen so far. So for those who are looking for a harder challenge, it seems as though this game is really going to be pretty close to what Diamond and Pearl actually was, which in my mind is honestly a little disappointing. I would have liked to see them make the game a little harder, change up the teams, add some more depth to those teams, but maybe I'm just simply asking for too much. And the last thing I want to talk about is the music in the game. One of these things, and I'm gonna just preface this by saying, like, I was a musician, but I'm not someone who really has a lot of understanding about how game music is done and things like that. But ultimately, what we're seeing from this gameplay so far is that the music that is playing through the people's Switch's speakers seems to be what most likely unfinished beta music. I don't know if that's the case, but the music that we've heard in some of the newer trailers for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, which most likely are tracks overlaid over gameplay footage anyway, are much higher quality. They're using, you know, authentic instruments, they're slightly remixed, and they sound really good. And the music that we heard from some of these leaks that came out are less than that, right? They're kind of more, it's called MIDI, a MIDI track, but they're more like electronic style instruments, and they just don't sound as good. So there's some talks right now in the community that the day 1 patch is going to basically include the proper soundtrack of the game. Or, I mean, that's a speculation right now. This is a really fuzzy area. I reached out to a buddy of mine who knows more about this, and I'm kind of waiting to hear back on that, because again, this is something that I'm not super familiar with. I've never heard of a game coming out and then replacing the whole soundtrack when it comes out, but we do know that there's a day 1 patch, so I think it's important to just like be mindful that the game is not finished at this moment. But I think it's also unrealistic to expect them to have a day 1 patch that's going to completely overhaul what was shipped out, right? Because the people who have this game at this point have a copy that they obtained that's a legit copy that they, you know, theoretically got from a store that sold it early or whatever it is. But it seems as though things like the music may not actually be final yet. But again, we know that this patch is coming. So again, I know I'm kind of just jumbled right now about this topic, but this is something that I don't know a ton about, and I just want to be open about that. But there's a lot of controversy in the community about the fact that the music is not done and that it's going to be patched in on day 1. I just simply don't know the answer to this, but it's something I'll update you guys on as I hear more. Again, I reached out to a buddy of mine who knows a little bit more about this, so I don't know if they're going to replace the music or not. It seems like a weird thing to do, but it also seems like a weird thing that they would have these really high quality audio tracks on the trailers and not have them in the game, so I guess we'll wait and see. So that's pretty much the main meat and potatoes of what's been leaked so far. Again, if you want to dive into the footage, I'll put the sources in the description and you'll see ultimately that a lot of it's probably going to get taken down pretty quickly. Once I hear back on my consultation, I'll keep you guys posted about sharing images and things like that. Again, I just want to make sure that I'm protected here. I'm not the source of the leaks. I'm just reporting on it as a journalist, but again, I just want to make sure I'm safe, so don't mind that. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to continue to keep you guys updated on things, so be sure to like the video down below, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and don't forget to pick up a shirt. You guys can go to teamshiny.com and pick up one of our awesome t-shirts if you haven't done so yet. Let me know your thoughts on all these things, and maybe you guys can weigh in on the music thing and some of the other thoughts, but ultimately, expect to see a lot of this leaking in the next 2 or 3 days, man. It's gonna come like a flood, let me tell you, and there's not enough flex state to stop it, man. The Nintendo ninjas, they ain't stopping this one, so it's gonna get crazy over the next few days. Thank you guys for watching this one. My name is Dan. I also go by aDrive, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.